Welcome back to another episode of Kate and Isaiah Living Large. I'm Isaiah.
And I'm Kate.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about our 5K run, the recap of that lovely run/beer drinking fest that we did. But before we get started, what's up? What's new?
Well, I've done a lot of comedy shows lately, as per usual. Did one in Fredericton last week and one in St. John, and that's going pretty well. Probably two of the best sets that I've had,
Nice.
like last throughout, as opposed to just intermittently. So that feels very good when that happens.
Sweet.
How about you?
Confession, after the 5K, I got real lazy. Like the last week is just been a very lazy, not do a whole lot.
It's recovery.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm supposed to take a whole week to recover from a 5K.
But whatever. It's not about supposed to. It's about what's right for you.
It's probably not right for me either. Let's be real. But I've been really lazy this week. Didn't go to the gym at all. It's been bad.
It's okay. There's no time better than the present to start again.
That's right. So
Who am I?
So I mean, let's just get into it. Let's talk about the 5K. Let's talk about what happened, how it went,
Okay.
our feelings, and all that fun stuff. So,
Sounds good. How about why don't you talk about how you feel about your performance on the 5K?
So first, I felt I did okay. I didn't have to stop very much, which was nice. I did the whole thing in an hour and 15 minutes.
That's amazing.
A lot of chatting happening while that was going on. Walking was going on. So I felt like I did okay. How did you feel?
Well, I felt that I put forth the best effort I could.
Yeah.
I knew, and I talked about it on here. I talked about it with Isaiah separately. I was not feeling good going into the 5K because last year when we did it and we came in last place, and I think we finished at about 130 or 140, if I'm not mistaken. It was slow going and that was painful. And I had been consistently working out since January. That is not true of this time. I feel like I put on weight again, and I knew that things were not feeling good. My knees were hurting, my back was hurting, and I felt not good going into it. And this isn't, and I mean, somebody said to me, like, maybe it's mind over matter. And I'm like,
A little bit. Not really, though.
Not really, though. Like,
Pain
is real, regardless of what you're doing, because I did to put in forth a legitimate effort to get ready about a month before. And I knew there was almost too much pain then to even get sorted. And like, there's some stuff that I have to work through, obviously. So we started the 5K, and I said he made it through without breaks because there were a lot of breaks in that first kilometer because I was there.
Yeah. So let's talk. Let's start from the very beginning. Let's talk about exactly what happened. So we started off. We were pretty confident at the beginning. Well, sort of confident.
We were feeling really good because it was like an exciting atmosphere. We had great conversations with people, and it's a really special place to be around a bunch of people who are about to do a physical activity.
Yeah. So we were sitting around talking. We recorded a video, which we'll see right now.
All right, we're here at the Port City Beer Run, and I took over the intro from Isaiah.
She did. We are getting ready to start. I am number 299. What did you get? 84.
84. It's in alphabetical order.
Yes, sure.
It is. I asked.
Is it? Oh, good.
Yeah.
I thought it was in order of when I signed up.
So did I, and I lambasted you when I picked up your stuff, and they're like, "It's in alphabetical order. You're really mean."
Well, that's sad.
They didn't follow it up with that thing. I added that myself.
Oh, that's super sad for me.
Yeah.
You ready? How you feeling?
Well, I took a naproxen and 2 Advil and put Voltaren on my knees and my back, and I brought Voltaren with me should anything flare up while we're gone. So I'm feeling dead inside.
Perfect. I mean, listen, that's the perfect way to start a walk.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We have nice weather, which is nice.
Yeah, it's so much nicer than last year.
Last year was so cold.
Yeah.
Are you going to start by running again this year?
No, I am not.
All right.
I learned my lesson.
We'll see. I don't believe it. I think she's gonna start running. She's gonna get caught
I
up
do
in
get
moments.
caught up in moments. That is the thing that happens to me.
I think that's what's gonna happen. But we are ready. We're just waiting around, getting ready to start. I'm sure we will check in again later on.
Got local celebrities here.
Yes.
David Hickey is very close to us.
There's 400 people.
400 people signed up. That's really impressive. We're here with our friend Danny.
she's hiding off
She
camera.
thinks she's okay to walk behind with us, but I suspect she'll run ahead. She did walk here to start the race, so
That's wild.
ridiculous. I was about to call a U-ride, and then Chris from our favorite bar, Big Tide, he was driving by my house and then backed up, rolled down his window. I was like, "Do you need a lift somewhere?"
Nice.
I was like, "Do I?
Nice.
That would be great."
All right, let's sign off here, and we will
We'll
check in again
later
on our next stop where we are dying at.
All right, bye.
Bye.
And that's about the video.
Yeah.
So we
You could tell we were feeling jazzed.
yeah, we were super jazzed. We kind of excited. Lots of people talking around, and we got out and we did our stretches.
Oh, a special shout out too, because we had Danny Walker with us.
Yes.
Who's a friend of ours. I know her from trivia and Big Tide generally. And I think, did you just meet her that day?
Yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah met her that day. And she's just a great girl. And she had walked to Moosehead from uptown. And so she was fine hanging behind with us slowpokes because she made her 5K a 10K because she's that ambitious.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we hung out back. There was 400 people signed up is what I heard the number was.
And
So
unlike
that was
last
crazy.
year, I didn't get caught up in the crowd and start running or anything stupid like that. I hung back
and walked.
And walked.
And so we were walking and we started to walk through past the Moosehead Brewery. And then that's where we ended up having to start taking our breaks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where the breaks started because my back started to just tense right up. And I was like, oh, not already. Because it wasn't even like I felt tired or anything. It wasn't like I was a little winded, but it wasn't like I got super winded and was like, I need to stop. It was my back went crunch.
Yeah.
This isn't good. And I almost called it right then. I was like,
yeah, the very at the midway of the brewery. But then you got up the little bit of energy and you walked. So we walked through and we walked all the way to
Reversing Falls.
Yeah, the Reversing Falls Bridge. And then that's where
beyond the bridge, we made it to Reversing Falls, like the restaurant.
Yes.
Is where we ended up making it with a few breaks. And one of the things, if I thought that nobody was waiting for me, like, and this is a mental thing, and everybody was fine, everybody was absolutely perfect. But there's a guy, unlike last year, there was a guy sweeping at the end.
His name's Derek.
His name's Derek, and he's super nice guy, friend of Isaiah's. Occasionally listens to the podcast, I think, and thanks, Derek, for that. I appreciate you. You're a super fun guy to talk to. But because anybody was waiting for me, I was like, this isn't gonna work because it's gonna take me 10 hours to finish. More like 2 probably, but like I can't do that. Like I can't. And because I knew I was gonna need, I was understanding how often I was gonna need to stop. And so I called it. And I called my dear friend, longtime listener, one-time guest of this podcast, Katie Green, who she doesn't know that I know this. I've seen her out walking pretty much on the daily.
Oh, man.
And when I've been driving home from work, I've seen her around uptown. So great for you, Katie, for being out enjoying the weather and getting your walk in. You did partake in the beer portion of the beer run that day, but also served as my chauffeur. So I appreciate you more than you know for that, because I just knew that this year it was not working for me. But Derek informed us that we made it about 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
And then sweet Katie came and got us with Melvin and Matt in the back seat. And I hopped in. And so this is where Isaiah and I parted ways. And I was really glad Danny was there so that I wasn't abandoning Isaiah entirely.
Yeah. So me, Danny, and Derek, Derek was on his bike, but we walked the rest of the way. I didn't stop, but my back definitely felt super tight. Once we passed Harborview, we got to the Brunswick. Is it called Brunswick Drive?
Chesley Drive? No, not yeah.
The one where you go down the hill.
Yeah.
By the museum there, just as you go down to the walkway, the red path.
Yeah,
Harbor Passage. It's got all the names. When I was going down that hill, my back really tightened up, but I didn't stop, kept going. We walked the whole way. I almost cheated at the end, though. I do want to confess. We got to the point where you had to go into the parking lot and around the parking lot, and I wanted to cut through the parking lot. And then Danny and Derek shamed me into doing the whole thing.
That's just rude. They should have just let you cut through. Who cares at that point?
But we did finish, and then we got these lovely medals.
For those of you looking at YouTube, you
on
can
YouTube,
see
you can see it.
Isaiah's medal.
Yes. I actually have both last year and this year's.
Yeah.
You can compare them.
It's such a great event too.
Yeah.
So I'll finish telling you the end of my 5K.
Yeah.
So Katie drove me, and we got to a stoplight right at the end of Water Street, and I was feeling pretty good again now that I'd had a little rest. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get out here. And so there was about a kilometer left of the race. And so, and I'd seen my sister also did the walk, and I saw her hop onto Harbor Passage. And so I was like, and she was a walker, and she was with a group of friends, and they were walking at a pretty good clip, actually. Anyway, so I started walking along, and there were still runners running by, and I was like, nobody's going to believe this. So I found a bench, and I hung out for a little bit and waited until I saw a few walkers kind of start to come. And I'd do a little walk, and like my back still would hurt. So I'd find another bench, take another little break. Runners would go by and be like, wow, good for you. I'm sure in their heads going, oh, how did you get here?
How'd you get in front of me?
How'd you get? I'm running. Look at you. And so I keep going. And then our one of the organizers, Natalie Nadeau, she came running by, and she was like, go, Kate. Like, that's amazing. And I didn't have time. Like,
didn't have time to go, oh, no, you don't understand.
Just knocked the microphone. Hopefully that didn't screw too much up. I got very animated there. I am a very honest person. And like, I felt guilty about taking this. I wasn't going to cheat and not tell anyone. That just wasn't going to be a thing I was going to do. Like, there are people running by who saw me get out of a car. There's like a famous marathoner who did that. It was caught on like Boston or New York subway system doing the marathon route up via subway.
Yeah,
and
his name is Jeffrey, and he's on on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It's a joke for
I was
90s
like,
kids.
I was like, I think her name's Paula or something.
It's a joke. It's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air did a joke about it.
So people who in our age will get that, and no one else.
Whatever.
And,
it's a great episode.
Well, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is a fantastic show, but anyway. So I'm walking along, and I get to the end, and I did cut across because I'd already cheated at this point in the parking lot. Like, who am I fooling? I took a 3-kilometer drive. I was like, oh, why am I walking around? And my sister caught up to me. I put in quotation marks for those of you listening on with just audio. And so make it across the finish line. And I did let her cross the finish line first because, well, I wasn't going to let somebody who legitimately did the race, who I know.
No, I would have like, no, I'm going past you.
So I did the race in like 52 minutes.
Nice.
Which sounds great. The mayor's there. Somebody put the medal over my head. I was like, I literally said as I'm crossing the finish line, I do not deserve that medal. And Jill Nadeau, one of the co-organizers, said, it's about the beer anyway.
That's right.
You did the best you could. Like, it's cool. And so I did, and it still was a great event. And I told you in advance that if I didn't do the race legitimately, I was going to hell home because I knew I'd feel like shit.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I felt great. I'd still walked 2 more kilometers than I've done lately, which was a struggle. Like, those 2 kilometers were a struggle for me.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I don't feel good that 2 kilometers was a struggle for me, but I feel good that I did those 2 kilometers.
Yeah, that you at least did some of it, right? That's like, we thought we weren't going to do any of it. So really.
Yeah, we thought about bailing entirely, and then it's such a well-run event from top to bottom. Yeah. Shout out to the Port City Beer Run. That's always been a good event that has gotten progressively better over time. The amount of details covered off this year that were just so cool. Like, there were hot dogs available to people supplied by Big Tut. And veggie dogs, and even having the sweep, who was a fantastic idea, because last year they were picking up the pylons as Isaiah and I were walking by, and that was like, fine, you gotta call it at some point, but it felt kind of crappy.
Yeah.
And no shade to the organizers, just like, but this year that wouldn't have happened because they had a guy in communication, and that was cool. And just the level of detail that was covered off, just a terrific event. If you ever think, oh, I'm not a runner, there are lots of walkers this year.
That's right. There was a lot of walkers this year.
And there was me. So you can never feel like you're going to be in last place. Like, you're not. And like, I will continue to do this event again and again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, 100%. No. And then you, I appreciate that you waited for me before you went and got your beer.
I had some guilt about taking the drive. It was a necessary thing for me, but I wasn't going to start drinking and having a great time until Isaiah got there, because that isn't fair. That isn't right.
Yes.
There's some things that you can do and some things you can't. So I waited, and I had grabbed a cup and I was just waiting and waiting. And it really wasn't that much longer. It was only another 30 minutes. And the break, I did get a bottle of water and hydrate, and sat on a bench. Felt pretty good about that. It's my thing, sitting on benches. And so Isaiah and Danny got there. What I didn't realize, I was like, great, you're here. I'm going to start drinking. Gone. Is that they were out of glasses.
Yes, we had to wait.
He still had to wait. When I learned that afterwards, I did feel kind of bad, but he was at least in the building.
Yes, and then we ran into Julia
Wright, who, as we mentioned prior, was our inspiration, because, well, we ran into Julia last year after the run.
Yes.
She said we should do a story about you on Information Morning. She in turn did that, and then asked us on air, a few months ago if we were going to do it again this year. We were like, yes, we are. And
so gung-ho.
So she started a clip with us.
Yes, which we
you'll
will
see
follow now.
Hey, we are at the end of our lovely travel. Hello, we are joined by Julia, who we initially promised we would do this with.
Yeah, we did. I feel we were on CBC Radio with Julia Wright because we met Julia. I mean, we knew Julia, but we met Julia at this exact run last year. And she was like, that's a great story, the fact that you're doing this podcast. And she had us on, and we were pretty thrilled to be famous. And so here we are, and on air, she asked us if we would do the run again. And we both enthusiastically said, absolutely.
So I finished it in a 5K. However,
and what was your time?
1 hour and 15 minutes.
That's awesome. And what was your time, Julia?
My time was about 28 minutes.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
My time was about 52 minutes. Let that sink in. And I do have a confession to make, though. I took a drive for about 3 kilometers of the 5K. And you know what? I was feeling pretty bad about it, but it's 2 kilometers more than I've done in the last several Saturdays. So, cheers.
Cheers.
Wasn't that fantastic?
It's great. No, Julia was awesome.
She is a really wonderful person and a great inspiration, because she said a couple of really nice things to me afterwards, because she's an avid runner.
Yes.
Like very avid trail runner, and just she's in incredible shape. She works really hard, and she's a great Information Morning show host, and she's not a person I know super, super well, but I feel like I know her really well, probably like so many of us who listen do. And I have a lot of mad respect for Julia, and
yeah.
I really appreciate all of the things she said to me that day and how supportive she's been of our podcast.
Yeah, for sure. So then we get to actually drink beer. So did you have a favorite one that you had?
I really, like so many girls there, enjoyed the distillery who had the salted ice cap.
Fiddle something.
Yeah. And Danny and I had been at the Fredericton Beer Fest Beer on the Bridge event last year because I won tickets, and I didn't know that I'd won tickets till like the day before the event. And I was like, hey, you want to go to this with me tomorrow? And we had it there as well. And it's just a fantastic treat.
Yeah. I didn't have that one. I had their something beach. It was pretty good.
Yeah. And then what was your favorite beer?
I think I had my favorite was one from one of my favorite breweries in New Brunswick, which is OG or Off the Grid.
Oh yeah.
They are fantastic brewery. If you've never heard of Off the Grid before, they are a green, sustainable company.
Where are they?
They're just off of Fredericton, I think close to Harvey.
Okay, yeah, okay. I think they do comedy shows out there occasionally.
I think so.
Yeah.
But they're all about solar and wind energy to help them produce their energy for their building and their tap room. And they had one, I can't remember the name of it. I want to say it was called like Sunrise or something, but it was like a red light. So it was like almost like it had the caramel flavor of a red, but it was like light, almost like a lager, which was probably one of my favorites.
Right. I ultimately did not end up drinking that much that day because I
did a lot.
Yeah, because our days diverged after the beer run. I had a friend who she was indecisive about whether she was going to come stay at my house that night. And the house was in no shape to house humans, including me. And so after the beer run, my sister was going home and I asked her for a lift. Like her partner came to pick her up. I was like, can Mike drive me home too? You'll remember Dr. Pelkey from an earlier episode. And so he drove me home and I started cleaning. And that's just when my friend texted me and said that she was going to go straight home as opposed to making a stop in St. John. And as much as I would have loved to have hung out with my friend, I was so relieved that I didn't have to keep cleaning. And I immediately fell asleep.
Nice. I left and me and Danny went and hung out. We went and got food. Nice. I was like, I just want food. And we went to the boardwalk.
Oh, you didn't go to Big Tide?
No, we went to the boardwalk.
Oh, wow.
It was the first day the boardwalk had opened. Now it's not open again, but
hopefully it's open by the time this comes out.
We'll see. So we went down there and I had like just some apps from lemongrass or peppers.
Nice. Do you have the Brussels sprouts?
Yes.
Those are the best.
I'm not usually a huge fan of Brussels sprouts, but
those are so good.
Really good. So we had some apps there, and then we just kind of wandered. I think we went to O'Leary's, and then I lost Danny at that.
Yeah, because you sent me a message at about 11 p.m., and I was awake from one of my 4 naps at that point because I couldn't even find the energy to like skip the dishes and walk down the stairs in my place. Only to walk up again. So I made myself a box of Kraft dinner that I had. I didn't even have any milk. So it was just a butter Kraft dinner, which is delicious, super healthy. And immediately fell back asleep on the couch. And then I saw this message from Isaiah at about 11 o'clock and was like, what's Danny's last name? Because I lost her. And I was like, ooh, Walker, good night.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to leave the bar because I was like almost ready to leave. I was getting ready to go. And I was like, I don't know where she went to. I was like, I don't want to like abandon her here. She abandoned me.
She gave me the old Irish goodbye.
That's right. Which was fine.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to leave without someone there knowing that I was left. But yeah. But then the next day wasn't too bad for me. I assume you didn't go drinking that much. So
no, I felt okay. I was like, I don't know if you know this about my lifestyle, but it's pretty exhausting. So I slept a lot and I think I even slept in the morning. Like I slept for almost like I got home at, I don't know, 3:30 or something. And I feel like I slept intermittently right through till about noon.
Okay. So what, so we're going to do it next year, I think?
Yeah, for sure.
I think we prep a little bit more next year, maybe.
We said that last year.
I know we did. I know.
So like, let's be realistic with ourselves. So our next episode actually is going to be about, so we did the beer run. Neither of us prepped that well. How do we take that experience and move forward, which you can tune into next week.
Yeah, that'll be next week when we talk about stuff. Cause I've got all these plans now. I think I know what I'm doing.
Okay. That's awesome.
We'll talk about that next week. You got anything coming up that you want to shout out before we sign off?
Yeah. If you happen to listen in the Moncton area, I'm co-hosting a Bad Words for a Good Cause at Flying Boats on June 22nd.
I like Flying Boat.
Oh yeah. It's good. Eh? Yeah. And then I'm bringing a comedy show to the Dooryard Arts Festival in Woodstock, New Brunswick on July 18th, which I am so excited about. I love that festival so much. It's near and dear to my heart. As I've mentioned before, I helped found the festival way back in 2009. I've had nothing to do with it since year 3, other than being a proud attendee. And now to bring my new love of comedy to a town that I care about so deeply, to a festival that I still put on my resume today, because it really is part of me. is I'm beyond excited to do, and I really hope that people come out and see us, and I think you'll like all the comics that I put on the lineup, and it's going to be a great time.
Sweet. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Fat Caitlin on TikTok that I never update, on Kate D on Instagram that I rarely update, Caitlin Dean on Facebook. Feel free to friend me. That's cool. I post things there all the time about the stuff I'm doing, and at the Caitlin Dean on X, which I also very rarely post on. What about you, Isaiah?
I am at Maritime Brews on all of the social medias. And you can find us at Kate and Isaiah Living Large on Facebook. I wasn't paying attention when you shouted, so you may have said that already. Who knows?
No, I didn't.
I zoned out.
I'm glad you did. Oh, you should say, too, if you want Isaiah's full recap of the beer portion of the beer run,
Yes,
you can check him out on Maritime Brews.
Maritime Brews on, yes, I'll have some of my postings of the stuff that I drank while I was there. As well, you can donate to us at the Buy Me a Coffee, which the link will be below. And that's about it. That's our episode this week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.